In 1980, an 8-year-old boy found $5,800 from D.B. Cooper's Ransom on a Columbia River sandbar. Just over 8 years after the jump, how did it get there? The trail starts with his ticket. On November 24, 1971, a man paid cash for a one-way Northwest Orient Flight 305 ticket from Portland to Seattle. The ticket carried the name Dan Cooper, written in capital letters. The better-known name D.B. Cooper appeared later through a reporting error. The ticket supplied a name, but not a confirmed identity. Shortly after Flight 305 left Portland, Cooper handed a flight attendant a note saying he had a bomb and wanted her to sit with him. He then displayed a briefcase containing what the FBI described as wires and red-colored sticks. The attendant relayed the threat to the cockpit and ground authorities, turning the flight into a hostage negotiation. Whether the device could function remains unknown, but the documented display compelled the crew to carry Cooper's demands forward. Cooper demanded $200,000 inches, $20 bills, and 4 parachutes. Before delivery, Seattle First National Bank recorded each bill's serial number and supplied the record to the FBI. That list later allowed investigators to authenticate recovered bills as part of the ransom. The money and parachutes were delivered as demanded. After Flight 305 landed in Seattle, Cooper received the money and parachutes, and all 36 passengers were released. Other accounts describe 2 of the 6 crew members as released, leaving the pilots, flight engineer, and 1 flight attendant aboard. After the Seattle handoff, Cooper ordered Flight 305 toward Mexico City at a low altitude and relatively slow speed. The aircraft took off again with the remaining crew, the ransom, and the parachutes aboard. The requested route was not fully realized, but the escape had moved into the air. Shortly after 8 p.m., during the Seattle to Reno leg, Cooper lowered the Boeing 727's rear stairs and jumped with the ransom money. The pilots continued the flight and landed safely. After that jump, the verified record of Cooper himself stops. The FBI could place the jump only somewhere between Seattle and Reno. Later references to an area near Ariel in southwestern Washington remain estimates rather than a confirmed exit or landing point. On February 10, 1980, 8-year-old Brian Ingram was at Tena Bar with his family during a picnic on the Washington side of the Columbia River. While smoothing sand for a campfire, he uncovered 3 deteriorating packets of $20 bills held together by rubber bands. The packets contained $5,800. The find came from a child at a family picnic, not from the FBI's search for Cooper. The family turned the money over to the Bureau the next day. Investigators now had a physical object recovered from a specific river location, with enough surviving material to examine against the records made before the ransom handoff. The FBI's comparison supplied the case's clearest physical link. Agents checked the serial numbers on the recovered bills against the list Seattle First National Bank had recorded before the ransom was delivered. They matched. The packets also preserved the original arrangement: 2 bundles of $120 bills and a third bundle of 90. Some notes were blackened, badly degraded, or reduced to fragments, but the surviving numbers were enough to authenticate the money. When FBI agents returned to the site, they found additional bill fragments near the original discovery area. They used a backhoe and consulted specialists in soil, archaeology, and river currents. The search did not produce another intact cache or a confirmed trace of Cooper's landing. Investigators considered whether the cache had traveled downstream after being stored near a stream, possibly through a tributary. Other officials suggested that Cooper dropped the money or died with it. By July 8, 2016, the FBI redirected the resources assigned to NORJAK, its Northwest hijacking investigation. In a July 12 announcement, the Bureau said it had reviewed leads, witnesses, searches, evidence, and new investigative techniques, but had found no proof sufficient to establish culpability beyond a reasonable doubt. The evidence was preserved for historical purposes, and the FBI said it would accept specific physical evidence tied to the parachutes or ransom money. One lasting response appeared in the Boeing 727 itself. Later historical accounts report that the FAA required 727s to carry a device called a Cooper vane after the hijacking. The vane is an exterior latch designed to prevent the aircraft's rear stairs from being opened in flight. That change addressed the mechanism Cooper had used on Flight 305. Before the FBI redirected active resources in 2016, the recovered money had already passed through a separate ownership dispute. The FBI, the Ingram family, Northwest Orient Airlines, and the airline's insurer disputed who should receive the recovered bills. A proposed 1986 judgment left a small portion with the FBI as evidence and awarded Ingram $2,760. In 2008, 15 authenticated bills and fragments from the cache were sold through a Dallas auction house for about $37,000. The recovered bills acquired an afterlife as evidence, disputed property, and collector's items. For more evidence-led investigations built from documented records, subscribe.